Guys, I'm here to talk to you about our Patreon. Patreon.com/shades-and-sketch. We've got all kind of great content for you there you won't find in normal episodes. You can join and support the show for as little as $1 a month. At $5, you unlock all kind of exclusive content like episode voting, Patreon-only episodes, and exclusive artwork. On to this week's episode.
Oh, hello. I'm Sketch.
And I'm Shades.
And this is
Geeking Out with Shades and Sketch.
Welcome back, longtime listeners. Every time you join us in a different corner of the Geeking Out multiverse. Shades, where's GoCo set up this week?
I'm so glad you asked, Sketch. This week, GoCo has been constructed on the beautiful landscape of the Hoover Dam.
Yeah, we're just taking in one of America's most breathtaking infrastructure achievements.
Yes. Originally named Boulder Dam.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in to Dam with Shades and Sketch. Damn with Shades and Sketch. Little bit of a kerfuffle, so they had like a Groupon sale. That's why we're here.
That's
technically.
Yes.
Sweeping up some rubble.
Yes.
Some debris.
We're just trying to find our way in so we can take a tour of Section 7 and see the hangar where they kept NBE-1.
Well, let's try this door here.
I'm sorry, what?
Oh.
No admittance? that was a Hollywood set?
Oh, boy.
Oh, this is embarrassing.
You know, our first clue should have been all the green screens.
All of the green screens.
And the fact there's no water here. Damn.
Wow.
Guys, if we are trying to infiltrate the Hoover Dam to see NBE-1 that must mean we are talking about Transformers. The 2007 Transformers movie and
Bumblebee.
The 2018. Just squeaked in 2018.
Snuck it in there.
Yeah.
So is it a prequel? Is it a reboot? We will talk about it.
We'll get there. Oh, we know why you tuned in.
Yeah.
Damn facts. Do we have a theme song before we get this?
You're
this
damn right we do, Sketch.
Transformers, robots in disguise.
Well, this is...
Wait. Perfect. Okay, so guys, if we were talking Transformers, then we're going to talk about everything Transformers,
spoilers
not just the movies.
Oh my goodness.
The cartoons, the multiple
Michael Bay Transformer movies.
Possibly, we're not
five
focusing
of them
on those Michael Bay movies.
No.
But there's been a lot of animated series.
Yes,
we grew up with toys.
Spoilers for the Hasbro toys.
Yep.
Potential spoilers for the GoBots.
Sure.
Remember the GoBots?
No, I don't.
They were the rivals of the Transformers, but now Hasbro owns both of them.
Oh. Damn!
Might there be...
That's going to be my sound clip of this episode.
Might there be a Transformers versus GoBots movie on the horizon? Probably.
Sources say yes. We have sources now.
We do.
Yeah, we have sources out there in Hollywood. So, Shades, shall we start by discussing our history with these Transformers franchise?
Sure. With just the franchises or Transformers in general?
I think the franchise.
Oh, like the whole
world of Transformers.
The whole damn thing.
Yeah, the whole damn thing.
Yeah.
With one M.
Yeah, I have like very early memories of playing with my cousin's Transformers, and he had all of the Gen 1 Transformers.
Okay.
And I think the movie came out in 85 or 87. The animated movie titled Transformers, the movie. And I just remember like every kid that was slightly older than me had all of those Transformers.
And did you ever get a toy yourself?
Oh, yeah. What
was your first toy Transformer?
I don't have like the official Gen 1 Transformers.
I don't think I do either.
But I have like an Optimus Prime that comes with the trailer and he turns into like either a giant version of Optimus Prime or like a base of some kind.
Okay.
And there was a random episode of the original series where Bumblebee and like RC and one of the Transformers that was a helicopter got turned into humans.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And so they're like...
that's problematic.
It was.
For many reasons.
Oh, yeah. And they were like giant humans, too.
Okay.
But it came in like a shell of what they looked like as humans, and then you opened them up.
Oh.
And like the robot Bumblebee was inside of it. Well, just like split open on the sides.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And then like a bunch of just like random, again, not like the official Gen 1 Transformers, but Gen 1 styled.
You had a lot of Transformers.
The Hot Wheels like kind of things that were like the smaller ones. And yeah, I loved them. I wanted them, but I think my parents thought I was too like young to be able to make them transform.
Yeah.
And
well,
would just
it
get
definitely
frustrated
takes
with
some
them.
fine motor skills.
Yeah, I don't think I had the fine motor skills for playing with them when Transformers were huge.
I do remember early on them being complicated. Even as I got older,
yes,
they did not transform effortlessly.
I have the 2007 Bumblebee, and that is
they figured it out.
No, it's difficult.
Oh,
there's
okay,
like even that one is kind of like they look great in their like transform and in car mode. It looks like very much like a 2010 Camaro, and it looks very much like Bumblebee from the movie. But
the in between steps.
If a child was putting it together, I imagine there would be a lot of broken pieces.
Oh, Transformers had to break so often. And that had to be a marketing decision.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Transformers really embodies marketing.
It does. But I'm pretty sure the original Gen 1s were like die-cast metal.
Yeah, they might have been. Back in the day when kids could take a hit to the head with die-cast metal.
Right, yeah. And everything was okay.
Good.
No lawsuits.
Good times. How about television series? Did you kind of keep up on them as they went through?
I think I missed a bunch of them in the beginning. I remember Beast Wars.
Yeah,
and like watching
great.
Beast Wars in the morning before going to school.
Beast Wars must have been more our formative years.
It was definitely the 90s.
Like the first Transformers, we would have been little ones.
Yeah, I definitely watched that in reruns.
Exactly. But I remember watching Beast Wars
as it was coming out,
and like anxiously awaiting each new episode.
A new episode, new season.
Yeah.
And then remember when they did the where they revealed spoilers, where they reveal that the Decepticon, they were Predacons and Maximals. The planet that they were on was Earth, and they traveled back in time, and they found Alpha Trion.
Yeah.
And like all of the Gen 1 Transformers asleep, and then Optimus Primal like took the Matrix of Leadership and became like a flying ship thing.
See? We told you we were going to spoil stuff.
Do you remember that episode?
Vaguely.
It was really cool, but then the series just got wildly
I was going to say, that seems late in the series.
It was very late.
How about the movies? When 2007 Transformers was announced, were you geeking out?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I was so geeking out.
Yeah.
I was so geeking out.
I remember that fondly.
I remember when they revealed that Bumblebee was going to be a Camaro, not a new Camaro, but they like showed the production stills of like the broken down janky Camaro.
Yeah.
I was all in. I loved it. I thought that was a great way to like update it particularly with Michael Bay doing it.
Yeah.
Michael Bay is an explosion fast car guy.
He sure is.
So I thought that was very smart to make Bumblebee a Camaro from
the VW bug.
Yeah, the VW bug.
I feel like that commercial, like the first trailer dropped at the Super Bowl, because I really feel like it was the most excited I've ever been watching a Super Bowl.
Probably, yeah. I would go along with that and say, they dropped it at a Super Bowl. Sure. Okay. If we're wrong on that, longtime listeners, write in. Let us know.
I'm more than happy to be wrong on sports related things. I'd almost be proud.
Yeah, would you?
Yeah.
Cool.
So I kind of jumped in on your history, but it basically mirrors yours.
Yeah.
I remember watching the original series, but not in any sort of continuity. Like I remember specific episodes, but I don't remember overarching plots.
Oh yeah.
Specifically. My first Transformer, I don't remember which one was first. I did have a very small, tiny little Bumblebee. Which I loved. And
his head like folded out of the back and his legs just extended.
Yeah.
And the arms folded out.
Yeah.
It was like transforming, like in quotes.
It was very simple.
It makes for
transforming.
Great audio.
And it had like a metallic finish paint job. Oh, it was I played with it. And anyway.
You might have had the Gen 1 Bumblebee.
I might have. I'll have
the
to
actual
look up
Bumblebee.
what the Gen 1
because mine was all plastic.
No, mine was plastic too.
Oh,
It just
okay.
had a metallic like paint job.
Gotcha.
on the outside of it. And then I remember I had all the Dinobots. I loved the Dinobots. But those definitely were not the Gen 1 Dinobots.
Right.
The ones that I had.
Those I definitely remember being die-cast metal.
Yeah. Yeah, and I definitely didn't have those. I definitely had the later versions.
I have a plastic Grimlock somewhere.
What was the Triceratops? He was my favorite.
I don't know. You don't
remember his
love
name. I love Triceratops.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think Dinobots got me going in
Into
Prime
Transformers?
Yeah, probably into Transformers, but also into Zoids. I think it was a natural progression for me to go into
I can see where
Zoids.
that would, how that would work.
Animal-shaped, metallic, robotic beings, That's my jam.
It really is, yeah.
And then, the excitement for the 2007 movie, and then less excitement for each subsequent
movie.
But then really, really pumped for Bumblebee. Because it looked like it was getting back to roots.
Way back in our Comic-Con 2017 episode, I think we were like, Bumblebee. Like, I'm so excited for Bumblebee. That was the movie that we were geeking out about.
Yeah, I guess we've been waiting a while for it.
Yeah, like a year and a half.
Takes a while.
But I remember, I went back and listened to that recently, and Elise was listening to it. Doesn't matter, but that was the thing that we were geeking out about. Like, we're gonna do a Bumblebee movie.
Yeah.
And before we had any plot details at all.
Because it felt like they listened to some of our personal critiques of the subsequent Michael Bay Transformers universe. Which we are not going to talk at length.
We're not. We're not at all. But your favorite of those is the first one, yes?
The 07?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Well,
as is mine.
Yeah.
But this is another Winter Soldier thing where everybody loves Dark of the Moon, which is the second, and that's the highest grossing in the series. And I thought that one was just god awful.
I'm trying to remember that
I'm pretty sure that's the one with Leonard Nimoy.
They all blend together to me.
Might be the third.
All the middle ones
I don't know.
blend together.
There's one where LaBeouf lives in England.
I didn't think LaBeouf was in that many of them.
LaBeouf's in the
first three.
Shia LaBeouf. He's in the first three, yeah.
Okay.
And then they kicked everybody kicked him out after that one. They kicked out everybody.
They kicked him out?
They kicked out LaBeouf and what's her face?
LaBeouf
Megan Fox.
He did one without Megan Fox. I feel like Megan Fox
was the
maybe
third
did
one.
two, and then Shia LaBeouf stayed on for one more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we can talk about that as to why Megan Fox wasn't in the third Transformer movie.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't really care.
Well, I was going to ask if you have any history on these two movies that we're doing.
I do.
Okay. History lesson time, everybody.
Which should I start with?
Damn. Chronologically, this is history. Start with the 07. What should I
Did I
start
get
with?
history on the original Transformers? Ooh, I might have not done that.
Okay. So, guys, it was made. Yeah, that's it. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, I don't have history for
and car companies were drooling over that property.
Well, I do know this. The first Transformer movie was paid for almost entirely by GM and the American government.
Yes.
It's basically all of the cars in all of the Autobots are General Motors vehicles. And the American military is a sponsor of all of the first 5 Transformer movies. Mm-hmm. And the only Transformer that is a consumer vehicle is Barricade, who's a Ford Mustang, because he was the nemesis of Bumblebee, who was the 2010 Camaro that was being newly launched.
Yep.
We say 2010.
It was a big commercial.
Yeah, it was one giant commercial for that, the product placement.
But you know what?
It was also Hasbro's first venture into film.
And it was good.
And it was very good.
It was good. I get that it's an advertisement, but while you're watching it, it's very easy to suspend that
it really
that notion.
I will tell you this. I do have the cost and the gross for the first Transformer movie.
Okay.
How much do you think it cost to make? In 2007. So this is $2007.
Gosh, darn it. $50.
I'll give it to you. $150 million. You had the 50.
I got the 50.
How much do you think it grossed domestically?
Domestically,
And this is not figuring in like DVD and and Blu-ray.
Just
box office
sales.
run. Yeah.
Okay. 200 million.
That was a good guess.
Thank you.
319 million.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I figured it was a financial success.
Oh yeah.
But that's even more so than I thought it was.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
So yeah.
Wait, before you get to Bumblebee, because I feel like you're about to go into Bumblebee.
I'm not.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say, how much do you think it grossed worldwide?
Oh, worldwide, Mr. Worldwide. I'll say they doubled it, 600 million.
That was another good guess.
Thank you.
$707 million.
Wow.
And we should say that these are some of the first American movies that were allowed to do premieres in China.
Oh, wow.
And I think maybe it was, I don't know if it was Age of Extinction or Last Night. A lot of it was shot in China or...
I vaguely remember that.
Yeah, and they did the movie actually, one of those with Wahlberg in them, either Last Night or Age of Extinction. Yeah, Marky Mark Wahlberger. They did the premiere there, and they actually like built giant transformers that were all over. They put them in like the Forbidden City. They put them in Shanghai.
Guys, do you see why we're not doing these middle movies? Because it's all things I vaguely remember.
They're varying degrees of less good than
they are. They are varying degrees of less good. That's a very kind way of putting it. Yeah. They're fun in the moment, you know?
Yeah.
They're very much disaster porn.
They are disaster porn. Yeah.
But like, in my opinion, they don't have any rewatchability.
Agree. Yeah. They have zero rewatchability.
Yeah.
Once you've seen it and you get that little piece of the story, there's no reason to go back.
Yeah. Absolutely.
They all follow that same model that's set up. Like John Turturro does something outrageous and ridiculous involving like him being in his underwear, disaster porn.
Yep.
And they just, it's every movie rolled out another beloved Decepticon or Autobot that they would inevitably kill.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which one was the one where they had like the offensive ones that people said had developmental disabilities?
I vaguely remember
that was a thing.
I don't remember which one that was, but I do remember that. There were two like little.
And Devastator had like giant wrecking balls for
he had
testicles.
big wrecking ball testicles.
Yeah, that was a thing.
Oh yeah, that was definitely a thing.
Yeah, that was not good. I'm pretty sure that was Dark of the Moon, and I don't understand how that's.
And they were like a weakness too.
Yeah,
like they went for them.
They fired missiles at them, and that disabled. It didn't make sense. Yeah,
who do they think they are? Supergirl season 1? No. Is now when you're going to get into Bumblebee?
Would you like me to?
No. Tell me the Megan Fox story.
Oh,
because that's before Bumblebee.
This is like, so Michael Bay is not having a good time of things right now. He's another
currently?
guy. Yeah,
2019?
2019.
Okay.
He's another guy that's kind of like caught up in Me Too and shenanigans. Okay. And Megan Fox entering the Transformer world and entering film seems to be one of those like legendary kind of Hollywood starlet stories of, I guess, Michael Bay took a fancy to her and put her in his movies, which is like super creeptastic because he's much older than her.
Oh yeah. Was Transformers her like first thing?
If it wasn't her first movie, it was certainly her breakout movie. Okay.
And Shia LaBeouf was like a Disney Channel star, right?
Had done Holes and Even Stevens.
Okay.
And he had already shot Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but it came out after. That's how he got in the movie. Spielberg produced the first two Transformers,
which I forgot about when I saw his name in the.
I know, it was shocking.
I really forgot.
I wonder if Spielberg's ever worked with Michael Bay again.
Shia LaBeouf.
It's coming for you.
Speaking of which, we should do Indiana Jones. At some point.
Should, yeah.
Shia LaBeouf filmed some of his scenes for Crystal Skull within 20 minutes of my house.
Yes, yeah. Yes.
I did not go to see him.
I imagine not.
Yeah.
But was Harrison Ford also there?
No, or he's not in that scene. I don't think he's in that scene.
I'm pretty sure he is in all of those scenes because they have interplay.
Guys, Long-time listeners?
Write in. If you know where Sketch lives and you can do the research.
If you know where I live, there is no excuse for not sending me the Sequest
blueprints. What's the deal with that? Long-time listeners. Get on that, long-time listeners.
Speaking of the Hoover Dam, have you ever been to the Hoover Dam?
Not only this time.
Sorry for that interruption, guys. We're back to Dam with Shades and Sketch.
Shades and Sketch.
The day I went, I think it was 109 degrees.
Woo!
Oh my gosh.
I've been to the Grand Canyon,
Brutal.
and it was like 109 in the shade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was at the Grand Canyon,
so I feel that.
Well, I was up above, so it was like windy and breezy and very temperate.
Yeah.
It's
nice. Like 70s at the top.
But yeah, the Hoover Dam was.
It is a desert.
109.
Totally irrelevant to the story that Sketch is trying to tell here.
Sorry, I'm all over the place, guys. I'm all over the place. Okay, Bumblebee. Then I want to get into...
let me finish. So Megan
Oh, that
Fox
wasn't the end of the story.
No, but their not relationship and like back and forth, I guess, came to a head in the third Transformer movie, and they had filmed some of her scenes, but Michael Bay kicked her off the set.
I remember hearing that a little bit.
Yeah. And it's only now coming out of like what the deal with all that was. He was like, she's terrible, hard to work with. She's terrible.
Yeah. I remember that now.
Which is interesting because then she's in the Ninja Turtle movies that he also did. So like maybe that was his way of
Is she April?
Yeah, she's April O'Neil in the Baybuster Turtles.
I've only seen the first Ninja Turtles
I've seen them
redone
both.
one. I've only seen the first one, and I've only seen it once.
Yeah.
So
there isn't much
remember.
rewatchability there.
Yeah. I'd be down to watch the second one though.
I think it's streaming. We could watch that.
Okay. Watch it sometime.
Maybe we'll write in, longtime listeners, if you want to see us do the Turtles movie. But this is not the Ninja Turtles movie.
This is the Dam episode. This is the Transformers movie. Yes.
Yeah. What's going on here, Sketch?
Damn. Bumblebee.
I have history for this.
Yeah, give it to me. Give me that sweet bee.
Announced in February of 2016.
Okay.
And had a stated release date of June 8th, 2018.
Okay.
With the working title of
far off.
Transformers Universe, Bumblebee.
Oh boy. Okay.
So this was going to be like anthology, like Mortal Kombat, Sub-Zero, and all like that nonsense.
Like what they were doing with X-Men with Logan.
Yes, and X-Men Origins, Wolverine, then there was supposed to be Magneto and Cyclops, and we only ever got Wolverine because that's really the only X-Men anybody cared about in that. Travis Knight was hired as the director in May of 2017. Principal photography began July 31st, 2017, and wrapped on November 10th of 2017. 6 days early.
Hey, pretty good.
It was given a release date of December 21st, and they did a full year of post-production.
Great. What'd it make?
In July, they scrapped the Transformers Universe title and just called it Bumblebee.
Okay.
Yeah. How much do you think this movie cost?
I think this movie what did the 07 make in $07?
It cost $150 in $07.
I will say in 2017 dollars, this movie cost $250 million.
You know, I'll give it to you again. $135 million.
Thanks for giving me that one.
I'll give you.
I feel like that was a gift, but thank you. I'm at
You're
least
welcome.
In ballparks now.
Yeah, you know, you've been doing the show long enough that it's like, there's some seamless CGI here.
This show has
changed the way that you watch media forever.
Yeah, and
me too.
I'm starting to learn actors.
Yeah.
Which I'm not necessarily happy about, but and I'm starting to get a grasp of those giant sums of money, which is kind of depressing because it used to be like, oh, those sums of money are beyond comprehension,
unfathomable.
They don't exist.
They sure do.
Now I know.
Yeah,
they're up on the screen.
They are.
So, what did it make? Am I guessing?
You don't have to guess.
Okay, I don't want to guess.
It grossed $438 million domestically. Oh, I'm sorry, that's incorrect. It grossed $121 million domestically.
Oh,
yeah, and it's grossed $438 million worldwide.
Worldwide, okay.
So domestically, this is considered financially a flop.
Yeah,
it made less than cost.
Well, let's
and
see.
I think that was a fact of this being the 6th movie in the Transformers franchise.
Yeah.
And The Last Night was god awful. I mean, it was embarrassingly bad.
I don't think I saw that one. I think that was the one I did not see.
I watched it recently on like Hulu or something.
Like as a punishment?
Pretty
you lost
much.
a bet?
I had exhausted everything else that I needed to watch for the show or wanted to watch. And I was like, I was bouncing audio and needed to do something.
All right. Hey.
I watched Last Night, and it is exceptionally bad. Longtime listeners, if you love The Last Night, you have terrible taste in movies. Is that where you thought I was going with that?
The marketing of this movie was like clear. Like they kept saying like not just a great Transformers movie, but just a great movie.
Yeah,
like they were really pushing that.
It was
really
very
hard.
clear that Michael Bay kept saying like this is my last Transformer movie, like as early as the 3rd one.
Yeah. These are all his swan songs.
These were all his swan songs, and they finally, I don't know, maybe he finally said I don't want to do them, or he was finally like fired. I think he was fired as the director.
Yeah.
I don't think he wanted to leave because he kept cranking these things out.
Well, I'm sure they were a surefire just check for him.
Right. They all had like 150 to 180 million dollar budgets.
Wow.
And this was kind of like the thing. Can we do a good Transformer movie for under 200 million?
And did they? We're getting there. We're getting there.
Stick around, long-time listeners.
Should we transition? See where I transform into all important internet scores?
Sure.
Or do you have more history about Bumblebee?
I have no more.
It sounds like you brought us up to present.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's it. There isn't a lot going on with
all
low drama.
Low drama. Do you have the scores to 07?
I do.
Oh,
yes.
great.
Yep.
Okay.
I have both all important internet scores.
Give us 07 first. I like to go chronologically.
07, sure. IMDb gives Transformers 2007 movie a 7.1.
Okay.
Rotten Tomatoes, 57% critic score, 85% fan score. Metacritic gives it a 61. Shades, geeking out with Shades and Sketch, gave 07 Transformers an 87.
All right. That's a high score.
Yeah.
I gave it a 95. I loved it.
Wow.
I
really loved it.
I loved it when I first saw it. I loved it all the additional times I saw it since, and I loved it this last time I saw it again.
Wow. I will say this last time that I saw it, I fast forwarded through a lot of it.
Oh, I didn't. I was all in.
I was listening, and it was most of the things that I fast forwarded through were Optimus Prime's horrific exposition. Just like, I don't need this.
Yeah. I got a big question.
I don't need any more stories, Optimus Prime.
Do you want to get into rants and raves of Transformers 07, or do you want to give the Bumblebee scores first? How do you want to do this?
Sure, we can do. We can talk Transformers.
Guys, did we say this is a double feature?
Double feature.
This is a double feature. Damn. Double feature. Perfect. TM.
Sure.
What'd you say we're doing first? I wasn't listening. I was just
rants and raves for 07 Transformers.
Great. What do you want to start with? Rants or raves?
I have like 2 for each. So
yeah, we got to pump through these because we have to get to Bumblebee.
You think you're gonna have way more than me?
Oh yeah, I will.
Okay, why don't we start with raves?
Okay.
And I'll start because I don't have a lot of them.
Okay.
I think it was unlike anything that I had ever seen at that point, in terms of the quality of the CG, the special effects, because there's a good amount of practical mixed with computer effects here.
A lot of people rank on Michael Bay for the explosions, and rightfully so.
Yes,
because
but he
they
was
are
the
all over
right
the place.
guy to do this movie.
And you're right, the way the CGI and
blended
the
with
practical effects is darn near seamless.
Yeah.
And there are movies that are more current than this that don't blend them together that well.
Blend well at all.
The Transformers are perfectly believable.
Yes.
That scene where that one of them, I forget the name, but it was a Decepticon, like plows through the bus.
Oh,
like just cuts right through the bus. Wasn't
Bone Crusher.
Bone Crusher, yeah.
We had the Scoopy thing.
Yeah. That was great. And like that bus was like practically split in half.
That bus was practically split in half.
And
I have the special feature of like watching them film everything.
And all of those passengers dead.
Yeah.
I mean, just dead
every single one of them.
For the sake of this movie. But it looks great.
It does.
It looks perfect.
And Bone Crusher is like rollerblading on the highway at that point. The sequence is just, I mean, there was nothing like this movie that had been done for Michael Bay and his production team to conceive what was going to happen, how it was going to happen, where the Transformers were going to like hit their marks digitally, and where the practical explosions needed to happen. There's another moment where like the G.I. Joe guy like drives on a motorcycle and skids and like slides under
the helicopter one. Whatever that one's name is.
I don't know.
The helicopter one.
Helicopter guy.
Yeah.
And like shoots the grenade launcher under him and that looks
the magnesium
fantastic.
Rounds from the F-22s are weakening him, and then he gets up under
Scorpion rounds, I think they called them.
I think so. Under his like weak spot, shoots up. And no balls. No balls.
None.
They didn't have balls yet.
They had not evolved to that point yet.
There was a line.
The longer they stay on Earth, the more human they become.
Yes.
That's not a thing.
Yes.
But we're going to go with it.
I think it's not so much the more human they become, just the more pronounced their genitals are.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Totally.
Minor thing, not a rant or anything.
Oh, yeah.
But when the army dudes are in the city, and
Tyrese,
and
I love Tyrese in these movies. He keeps coming back.
And
everybody rags on him.
Who was the other guy? Who was the other army guy? Because I liked him.
I liked him too. I'm surprised
both
his career hasn't exploded.
Starscream shows up, and they know it's Starscream because he's like, F-22s don't fly below the building line. Yeah. And then later, the F-22 show up, and they all fly below the
building line. Well, they had to match Starscream.
Yes, they had to get down there.
Friendlies don't fly below the buildings.
Yeah.
I don't know how the other pilots like knew that Starscream was Starscream and not like one of their buddies that they were shooting out of the sky. If that were me up there, it would have been like a horrific
You would have
disaster.
been killing everybody.
I would have been, that would have been my bad, guys.
So your first rave, because I think you said this once.
Yeah.
And I think it's worth bringing back. Give me something new and I'm all in.
Yes, I have said that.
I think you said that one time.
A few episodes ago.
You should bring it back.
I should. Guys,
because that's
give me something new and I'm all in. This was so new. And Bumblebee as a Camaro was just like, I was all in from the minute that happened.
I loved Bumblebee as a Camaro.
Yeah. I mean, I thought that was such a fun...
This came out in 2007, so I was a year away from buying my Mustang.
And the Camaro was... Like the Firebird and the Camaro, they were dead. 2002 was the last production year.
Oh yeah, guys, they coincided this movie with the debut of the new Camaro.
But it took another 2.
Well, yes.
Actually, the Camaro, Bumblebee's Camaro form, his updated Camaro, is actually a Pontiac GTO, which was also the Chevy. The Chevy Monte Carlo.
Guys,
do you remember
the
Monte Carlo that they came back with?
Yeah, sure.
The updated one?
Yeah, I'll say
Our friend had one.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it was white.
I vaguely remember that. Yes. Yeah.
And so
this movie was supposed to, it was intended to kind of launch the Camaro, and it drummed up a whole lot of interest.
So it really did.
And I remember you could get the Bumblebee package.
Yeah, if it wasn't well received, there would have been no new Camaro.
Yeah.
And it really brought back the muscle car industry. The Camaro, the Mustang was the only muscle car left.
Yeah, and before 2008,
they were like
before the 04 body type.
Yeah.
Guys, welcome back to Car Talk with Shades and Sketch. Before the 04 body type, it had really been phased down to like a normal sedan.
It really,
and then
really
they started to bump it back into American muscle.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was really on its last legs.
American muscle.
Yeah.
With Shades and Sketch.
Welcome back, longtime listeners. So the Firebird, then the Camaro had been killed. The last production year was 2002. This was a prototype, and when they brought it around to car shows, it didn't have an engine in it. That was like the big scandal because people wanted to see.
Yeah, what's under the hood?
What was under the hood?
You always want to see what's under the hood.
And there was no the hood didn't open. It was just a shell.
It was just an Allspark.
Yeah.
It's the shard of Allspark.
Well done.
Thank you.
So yeah,
trying to bring it back to Transformers.
This movie saved the American muscle car industry.
See, There you go.
But I'll just...
Thank you, Michael.
On that note, welcome back to American Muscle.
American Muscle.
Oh, you get the proximity effect going there with the cardioid. The 2010 Camaro, they started working on that, ostensibly in 2006 when they started planning this movie. The Dodge Challenger conceived and to production and out to the masses within a year.
Yeah.
So kudos to you,
good on
Dodge
you, Dodge
Challenger.
That's what my father drives.
Yeah, I know.
He loves it. Absolutely.
He does love it. It's a great car. I like it.
Can I take a rave?
Yeah, please do.
Even though I jumped in on yours?
Take 2.
I'll take 2.
Because I only have 2 others.
I will say, I agree with you. The CGI was great. Top shelf. Like the reveals of all the Transformers.
Oh, yeah.
Like the first time every Transformers revealed, fantastic CGI. Yeah. I was very invested, and I thought each plot, the A plot and the B plot, were interesting movies.
What is the A plot and B plot?
Shia LaBeouf.
Okay, is the A plot?
The A plot.
Okay.
With like a teenage comedy drama. Dreams! Yeah, exactly. And then I would
trying
say
to sell his great grandfather's glasses.
Yeah, like hawking
eBay.
his stuff because he's trying to buy a car, trying to impress the girl, like that classic American teenage movie, right?
Right.
And then the military story, everything going on with our band of soldiers.
Section 7, John Turturro.
Yeah, even before Section 7, like the soldiers.
The soldiers in
the Middle East and finding their way back to communication. Like you said, this was partially financed by the military, and it shows.
Yeah,
but it is like. It is propaganda, but if you've ever seen the movie Battleship, do not recommend it.
Yeah,
but if you've ever
similar
seen
setup,
the Navy
does not
like,
translate,
and it was like it was literally
it's
commercial.
Like the difference of like Special Forces, Army, and the Navy.
But the Army parts in this
apologies
movie,
there if I offended any long-time listeners.
I'm sure you did.
I'm sure I did.
The Army parts in this movie were like.
They were
awesome.
Top shelf.
Yes. Yeah. Like they really like you geeked out hard on them. Like you were like really rooting for the Army.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yep.
And then the way they clicked together, like when they finally intersected, it made sense. It completely worked. And then they traveled together for the rest of the movie and it all
works.
It all worked. It was well crafted.
And it was very reminiscent of the 87 movie and the original Gen 1 series of how like I guess not the Gen 1 movie. The humans weren't really in that. But that first series, it was very reminiscent of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you had the military, such strong military, the humans really played a big part.
Yeah.
In this, which I really liked.
Strong agree. Yep.
Yeah. And it really felt, I'm just going to keep just snowballing here.
Yeah.
And it really, like in that final battle, with the Army dudes and Megatron and everything. They're in
Mission City.
Mission City. It felt like it really felt helpless.
Yeah.
And hopeless.
Oh yeah.
And these guys are up against completely overwhelming odds.
Right.
It really felt it wasn't just attached.
You're watching it, and there are times when I'm watching that where I'm like, oh, some of these actors were injured.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Oh yeah.
There are practical explosions going off all over the place. In movie story, they're firing high impact, explosive weaponry, and film set. They have
shit's getting
large buildings are falling down. Like you're like, oh, the things are exploding. Like it really does a great job of pulling you into a story that personally I probably wouldn't care about. I wouldn't go see that movie if it was like a Black Hawk Down-esque movie that I wouldn't be all in that in the same way that I was drawn into this.
Right.
So I would say,
I mean, the peril.
It's a great job.
Was paramount.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Perilous.
You want to take another one? You take it on.
I will say I love that it's at its core just a movie about a boy in his car.
I wrote that here. I put the true love story of this movie is awesome.
Yeah.
A boy in his car.
Boy in his car.
Boy in his first car.
It is a rite of passage, like getting your first car.
Yeah. They don't all transform.
They don't. But
sadly.
It's okay.
But it's a great way to kind of personify that relationship where the car can actually respond.
It's a cowboy and his horse.
Absolutely,
it's a boy in his car.
It's a Michael Knight and his Kit.
Yeah, Michael and Kit.
Yeah.
It's there's something You always, what does it say? You never forget your first?
You don't.
You don't. And like, I still have mine.
I also still have mine. That is the kind of people we are.
Yeah, seriously. We hold on to things. We take care of them, Sketch.
But
that's who we are.
It's the root of that story that's just so ingrained, especially in American culture. Not just specifically A Boy in His Car.
Yeah.
But like a man growing up and having that sidekick.
Yes.
You know, the hero having their constant companion.
And we talked about this in Knight Rider.
Yes, we did.
Like the bond between man and machine.
Mm-hmm.
They do talk to you. They do let you know what's going on. They do. You take care of it. They'll take care of you. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You just gotta. They're not gonna like come over your radio and say, "I need more oil." But they if you listen, they let you know what's going on.
I loved how Bumblebee couldn't talk.
That was my final.
Oh, I thought you only had 2 raves.
I had 3.
Go ahead, give it.
Well, that's you can take it.
It wasn't. I didn't write it down.
I thought. Yeah. So on this note, I'll piggyback Boy in His Car. Bumblebee talking through the radio was genius.
Yeah, it was.
And I used that genius.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
I don't know who came up to it, but Michael Bay gets directorial credit. I don't know who wrote this screenplay. I guess I should have looked that up, but whoever came up with that and wrote it into the script, genius.
Yeah.
And specifically the clips that the idea that he could tune in anything and whether it was over any radio frequency, whether it was currently being broadcast or had been broadcast, you know, there like John Wayne's in there. Sure. Just the right moment of a song that he could process. Like, this is what I want to say. Here's where it is. I can tune it in, and like the dial actually moved on the radio. Yeah. It was
so smart.
It was
brilliant.
Genius.
Yeah.
It really was. And
it's easy to take it for granted now because it's been out for 10 years.
Yeah.
And so it's easy to forget that. No, Bumblebee used to talk.
Yes.
Like in other Transformers.
Right.
But this was such a smart way to do it.
Right. Mm-hmm. And and it really went so far to like reinforce that idea of a boy in his car. Because if Bumblebee had talked, he would have been, there's like a disconnect between the other Transformers that talked and your emotional connection to them.
Absolutely.
But because Sam and Bumblebee's relationship, that Bumblebee is his car and Bumblebee talks to him through the radio. Like when Bumblebee drives them out to like the overlook and the sun setting.
Oh yeah, to make
that
like,
point. Oh, this is romantic. Like, and who's gonna take you home?
Yeah,
is on the radio. It's like that. Yes, like if you take care of your car will take care of you.
Absolutely.
And it was genius that they had him talk through the radio, because it just, if you're a car guy or like you're a teenage boy who's just gotten your car, or a teenage girl or non-gender identifying, if you're a car person and you've just gotten your car and your car talks to you and you know it talks to you.
Yeah.
And this just reinforced it so well.
Yeah. It was definitely that part, whoever it was a car person.
Yes.
They got
yes.
it. That relationship was so just on point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. All right, I'll do. We gotta get moving.
Just rifle through.
I really like the lore behind the Cube and Sector 7 and the Hoover Dam. I like how they tied all that together.
Yeah.
I'll just leave it at that. It was like this history plot,
it's like lightning round
down.
I loved the history.
They uncovered it, and it was everything lined up. Everything made sense. Everything was integrated.
I loved going to the archive room. Yeah. And they like use the CB, and there's no people steal everything around here.
Yeah, and then they're also like, all the biggest technological advances of like the last 20 years all came from this. Yeah. Great, love it. I like that.
Absolutely.
The last rave I'll say is, and it might be controversial, but both Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox bring it to this movie.
They really do, and they had great chemistry.
They had incredibly good chemistry.
They had great chemistry.
They were both really strong characters. Yep. And they both, I feel, really brought a lot of life to these characters.
Yeah.
Like they weren't two-dimensional. Like even Megan Fox, you thought she was going to be just the eye candy.
Yes.
And then she had a rich backstory.
Yes.
With her, her past in trouble with the law and everything. And she was clutch in that final battle.
Oh, my goodness. When she, gets the tow truck and strings up Bumblebee and she's driving in reverse, like, yeah, you shoot, I'll drive. It was awesome.
When the when the army guys are like, you got to get out of here. Yeah. Shit's about to get real. And she's like,
army guys.
I am not leaving without him. Yep. Referring to B.
Bumblebee.
It's like, look, it's been a day. And, they're so close.
I feel like in the subsequent follow-up movie, Sam's at college and she's like
a mechanic, right? Doesn't she
B stays with her, right? Because Sam can't take his car to campus.
That's it, yeah.
And she's his mechanic.
Again, vaguely remember it. But so I like that. They turn it on its head. You see Megan Fox show up and you think she's eye candy. This is just going to be the eye candy.
But she's the wrench wench.
But yeah, and she's also
clutch.
She's so clutch. And Sam Wiki goes from this bumbling teenager.
I didn't get tired of that joke. And I don't know why.
We watch him become a man.
Yes.
I mean, at the end of this movie, the things that he's doing, the sacrifices he's willing to make are
There's
amazing.
A moment where, I don't know if he's on top of the building or running to the building, where everything just explodes around him. Yeah. And it's a huge practical effect, and he goes flying. Something just hits him right in the face in slow motion. Go back and take a look. It's not a giant thing, but he doesn't break character, and it's in the movie. It's I'm with you. I'm not a huge Shia LaBeouf fan, but he brought it in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not pro or con either of the two of them, but when I watched this movie, I'm like, they both brought it.
Yeah,
and this movie would not have been as successful without either of them.
Agree.
Doing these.
And I think that shows with the third movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was not good, the third movie.
Yeah. I'll move on to rants, though, because I could really rave for days.
You want me to start?
Yeah, I only have 3 rants.
I have 2 rants.
Okay.
I have 3 rants.
Well, sorry. Rants.
Let me start with my most grievous, my most petty.
Oh, okay.
This movie looks like it was shot with an Instagram filter.
Okay, yeah, you did say that to me.
There's this crazy green hue through the whole thing, and I picked up on it, but I couldn't articulate it. And Elise walked into the room for 2 seconds to see what I was watching, was thoroughly disgusted and walked away.
She big on the Instagrams?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
she's owning Instagram, and that was her thing. Was oh, there's some kind of filter on it, and then it was that's what it is. It looks like some kind of stupid Instagram filter.
Okay.
And it's an unnatural green. I don't know. Maybe they shot it in daylight and then digitally made it look like nighttime.
And you're talking throughout the entire
the entire movie. There's this weird green hue. The only other place I've ever seen it is in trucks. When they show that green hue around planet Earth whenever they're
trucks.
Yeah, Stephen King Maximum Overdrive.
Oh, Maximum Overdrive. Okay.
And they're trying to show the radiation that Earth is passing through, that this is why the trucks are coming to life. It's a bizarre green hue.
You said this to me after I had already rewatched it. And I can't think back and go, oh yeah, it did. It doesn't register to me. So I'll have to rewatch it again happily.
It is bizarre.
I'll see if I notice it.
It's an interesting choice, I will say the least.
You want me to start petty?
Sure.
Okay, I'll start petty.
Let's keep it petty.
I found that little robot that came out of Barricade to be pretty stupid.
Did he come out of Barricade?
Yeah, he did. Well, I don't know if he came out of Barricade, but he kept riding in Barricade.
Oh, yeah.
And
he wound up in Air Force One.
Yeah, he had that big scene on Air Force One, and then he had the big scene in Hoover Dam.
Was he supposed to be, in the third movie, there's this little broken down, I mean, actually, he's in all of them, I think, but he's this little broken down bot that lives with Sam in his loft. Is it supposed to be him?
I don't think it should be.
I don't think so either.
He's a murderer. That's my problem with him. He's really...
Where was he getting all those bullets?
He's really dark and menacing.
Yeah.
But then he's really silly.
Right. When he gets his head cut off and then little spider legs.
Yeah. And he's always kind of looking at the camera and and the movie was funny enough. With everything with Sam, he was legit funny.
Yeah.
And there's good comedy in this movie, especially with the parents.
I'm with you.
He didn't, that little robot didn't need to
We did not need the little robot.
He needed to be, I'm fine with that whole Air Force One scene.
Right.
Because up until the very end of it, he's super serious and super deadly.
Yes.
And then he gets a little silly.
Then he gets very silly.
He turns into a boombox.
Yes.
And okay, whatever. But so he change that. That's what I said.
Sure. I'm with you.
Give me another rant. A little less petty this time, please.
Okay, sure. The movie's not about the Transformers. It's a full 40 minutes before we ever see a Transformer in robot mode.
Yeah.
That's kind of egregious.
I see
the whole A plot of the movie has little to nothing to do with the Transformers. I thought that was kind of unforgivable that we went a full hour of the movie in a 2 hour and 20-minute movie without seeing a Transformer.
See, and this is where we're going to disagree, because my next rant is once all the Autobots show up, the movie starts to fall down for me. Because I think beforehand...
It still wasn't about them once they showed up.
Well, yeah, but then it gets, bloated. There's too many of them. But, when it was really about the human stories...
Sure.
And, both of them, in both plots. The Transformers, the threat for the military, and then you're caught in this thing between Bumblebee and Barricade. But, it's focused on the humans, right?
Right.
I was... more invested. I almost said much more invested, but the rest of the movie still kept me invested. But I was very invested in the human characters because I think I just related with them more. I related with their plight more.
I'll agree with that.
But you're saying this is a Transformers movie.
This is a we should
Transformers at the get-go.
At the get-go.
Okay.
This
is one where I'll just respectfully disagree with you on it.
Yeah, it's...
We can disagree. It's okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Are we still gonna do the pod?
No, but I mean.
All right, long-time listeners, cue the theme song.
No, I will take every opportunity I can to disagree with you.
Okay. I just needed more.
You need more Transformers.
More Transformers story.
Okay, that's fine. You got it in the following 8 movies.
No, I didn't. I don't feel like any of the Transformer movies were ever about the Transformers until Bumblebee.
Okay, well we're getting to Bumblebee.
Yeah.
The last one I'll say, all my rants are minor because I gave it such a high score. But in a scene of what I thought was just grievous poor writing, when Sam reacts to learning about Michaela's past and her rap sheet and her old, she went to juvie or whatever.
You're super hot and I'm super into you, but you're a criminal, so I'm done. Yeah,
he was offended. He's known her personally for less than a day, and he almost acts offended, you never told me that,
right?
No, that stuff doesn't come up.
Dude, she didn't know who you were until 5 minutes ago.
That just felt to me
we've gone to school together,
just
since kindergarten.
A forced, poorly written.
We're in history and biology and chem. Yeah. We're in all these classes together.
That was funny. That
it was, but then he's outraged.
Then he's outraged.
Yeah,
and it didn't come across organically, and it was just so he could have that hero moment of standing up to the Sector 7 guy and saying I'll do this, but her rap sheet gets and they have that moment. It wasn't as neatly crafted as everything else.
Agree.
Yeah.
My last rant. If they could have cut out 20 minutes of car chases and the entire hacker story, I think the movie would have been so much stronger.
You didn't need the hacker story.
And I don't know who that actress was.
You don't?
I don't know who she is. Who is she?
She is Jessica Jones' sister.
Oh, snap!
Yeah.
Wait, she's Australian.
Yeah.
Oh, that's where I knew her from.
Yeah, because when I rewatched it this time, I was like, she looks really familiar to me. And I looked it up.
She looked familiar, but I had no idea who she was, and I didn't look it up.
Yeah, Trish, right? You. Trish and Jessica Jones. Yeah. Don't know her real name.
Patsy.
Yeah. Fucking Patsy. I hate her now.
I hate Patsy so much, but I didn't need her story.
You did not need that story.
She's Australian. Wow.
Yeah.
She does a good job of covering that up.
She does.
GJ.
She does. A great job of covering that up. Yeah. No, you didn't need that.
The whole story was totally inconsequential.
Notice when I talked about the plots,
you never mentioned
I said A plot and B plot. I didn't mention
and just
C plot.
I know it's a Michael Bay movie, but we could have cut out 20 minutes of car chases. It was a little gratuitous at the end of all the car chases. Yeah. And then Optimus Prime gets in on it. It's come on.
Yeah.
It's a Peterbilt.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense.
It didn't make any sense.
Yeah. That's okay. We still love it.
Yeah. I think, should we do big questions as a whole?
Yeah, you want to wait to do big questions?
If you have big questions for the original Transformers.
I got some BQs.
Great.
But I'll wait. I'll hold them off until we talk about Bumblebee.
We never did a synopsis.
We just talked about the movie.
We did.
I have a synopsis here.
Here's the synopsis
for Bumblebee.
For the synopsis of the first movie is a boy wants
a boy in his car, yeah,
and inadvertently
it's a robot in disguise.
It's a robot in disguise, and it kind of launches him into this intergalactic conflict between Autobots and Decepticons.
Okay, ready for my Bumblebee synopsis?
Sure.
Genderbend the Little Boy with Haley Steinfeld and the Iron Giant with a VW version of Bumblebee from Transformers, set in the 1980s with another Guardians of the Galaxy-esque soundtrack meets Ready Player One, and you've got a super fun, nostalgia-filled, sure to have sequels Transformer franchise.
Sure. Absolutely. That's a fair synopsis.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I worked hard on that.
Yeah. This is a story of a girl with her car.
Yep.
Loosely following the same plot as the first movie, but
the Iron Giant,
definitely the Iron Giant, and fixing some.
It's Bumblebee's
issues.
Very own original movie.
Yeah,
sure it is. Totally original.
Totally
original.
Internet scores. We didn't do internet scores of Bumblebee.
Here we go. IMDb 7.2.
Can you just refresh my memory?
7.1.
Wow,
for Transformers.
Okay.
Rotten Tomatoes, 92% critic score.
Wow.
78% fan score.
Huh.
Metacritic, 66.
That one kind of flipped.
Yeah, it did.
From Transformers.
Metacritic is a 66, and I gave it an 87.
Okay.
Oh, Google.
Oh, yeah.
Google gave 94% to both movies.
Google loves them.
They love them. Well, if you hate things, you're not going to get on Google and leave a review. Unless you're me. I'm looking at you, Dave's Coffee.
We all
looking at you.
That I gave it a 95. I put these two movies at equal score for different reasons.
Sure.
I think they fall down in different areas and they rise above in different areas.
I will agree with that.
But I think they're both equally as good.
Fantastic.
Maybe one edges out the other. I got to figure it
out. There's a very clear distinction of which one of these I liked better. It is both a rave and a rant for me.
Okay, how are we going to do that?
I'm just going to mention it both times.
Okay. Oh, great. Shades gets double the airplay.
Double the airplay.
Okay. Start with raves. We start with the raves of those.
Sure, you go first.
Is a smaller cast of Transformers. And like I just said, once the Autobots showed up in 2007, it got really big. It got really bloated.
Agree.
Couldn't pay attention. This is just Bumblebee.
And kind of Optimus Prime.
And then really just two Decepticons.
Yep.
In pursuit.
Not Starscream.
Starscream.
Well, I guess there's three. There's a helicopter.
There's three because the first one dies.
Right. Not Starscream.
Not dies. Starscream dies. And then there's the guy and the girl.
Right.
One's a jet, one's a helicopter. Yeah. I don't know their names.
One's a Barracuda and one's a Challenger.
Guys, I'm terrible at Transformer names.
Me too.
Just like actors. But I mean, it was smart. It was smart to tone down the cast and cut out the fat.
I imagine each subsequent movie is going to follow a different Transformer as the...
Yeah, I'd like that.
Me too.
Because the stakes felt higher.
Yeah.
When you were so invested in just one.
Yep.
And there's like one adversary.
And we got like 5 other movies for Bumblebee's story.
Yeah.
So maybe, God, let's give Cliff Jumper a movie.
I want to give RC a movie.
All right. Too soon. Let's give RC a movie.
Yeah, let's give RC a movie. You take a rave.
I loved the Iron Giant, so I loved this movie.
Okay.
It really is the Iron, like Bumblebee moves like the Iron Giant. Like there are very key frames of like Bumblebee does things in this movie that he's never done in another movie. The way he like crouches and stands and sits on things and moves and kind of like holds his fingers like, oh, I'm embarrassed. I'm just very timid. I don't want to be a war machine. And he even like his memory gets wiped, and then he like gets it back at one point, and like I am the most powerful weapon in the world, and sacrifice. It's just the Iron Giant story.
It certainly is.
I love the Iron Giant. Ergo, I loved this movie.
And see, I think we talked about this in Ready Player One. I've
don't
seen
have that
Iron
connection,
Giant, but I don't have that connection. So I definitely recognized it.
Right.
You can't not recognize it.
Right.
But for me, it was just an observation. Oh, look,
right.
It's basically the Iron Giant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting rave. Interesting rave. I like it. I'll take one.
Yeah, go for
it. Okay. Charlie.
Great character.
Great character.
Yeah.
She had a really developed backstory, and she like really did a good job of depicting like just tragedy, like
Yes.
and I don't even want to say like overcoming tragedy.
They did a
like
great
wallowing through tragedy.
Yeah.
Like taking your time. You don't move through everyone at everyone's pace. And they showed like it was a real honest depiction of like depression.
Yes. Yeah.
You know?
I thought they did a great job of combining Sam and what was it, Michaela into one character, and then giving this new character Charlie a compelling backstory.
Yeah.
That Bumblebee, spoilers for this movie, Bumblebee rides off into the sunset with Optimus Prime. I would 100% go see a movie.
Spoilers, huh?
Yeah, spoilers. I would 100%. I'm so apologetic, guys. I gave that spoiler away to Sketch because I thought he had seen the movie already, and I'm deeply apologetic.
And I had not.
I'm deeply apologetic, Sketch.
Okay.
You know I don't
Wasn't huge.
do those to you intentionally.
I know.
And I'd like to apologize on air.
Thank you.
That was my bad.
I do not accept your apology.
That's fair.
Podcast over.
Podcast over. Play theme music. Roll the theme music. What was I saying?
Podcast back. I need the money.
Oh, right. Okay. Phew.
The sweet, sweet pod.
Sweet podcasting money.
Yep.
Guys, this episode of the pod brought to you by the American military and General Motors.
If only.
If only.
If
We will
only.
take some of your sweet sponsorship money.
Absolutely.
What was I talking about? Oh,
Charlie.
I would 100% go and see a movie about Charlie that did not have Bumblebee in it.
Sure.
I thought it was a great character.
Yeah.
I want to see more of her story.
I agree.
I think we'll probably see her again, and it doesn't make any sense. But
And I don't think I listed it as a rant, but
go
like
with
for such a strong start, she ended kind of weakly.
very weak. Yeah.
All that build up to the high dive, and it was useless and nothing. Like
Yeah.
Ugh.
It was about her overcoming.
It was her climbing out of the pit.
Climbing out of the pit.
Yeah.
She did the dive.
It absolutely,
She did
was.
the dive.
It was her walking out of the void.
I want to see a movie where she's an Olympic diver.
Sure. How great would that be as like a little Easter egg in a follow up one? If like she's just like on TV, like you know, it's like the Olympics or something.
Yes, sure.
And you're like,
or like the
Charlie
Goodwill
made it.
Games. Yeah, Charlie made it. She's okay.
It's great.
Yep. And B's like following her career.
I'm totally on.
Yep.
Totally on for that. That was my rave. So you take one.
Great. This movie avoided all of the tropes of the previous Transformer movies.
Okay, give me some tropes that it avoided.
It's not a love story.
Nope.
It could be standalone. It's not super flashy. It had like a great story with the exception of 07. None of them had great stories. And it's a nice tie-in to a previous film, but also maybe not. It dealt with like, is this going to be a reboot or a prequel?
Yeah.
Very well. And it could have gone either way.
It really could have gone either way.
It could have. I mean, there are a couple hiccups.
When are we going to talk about that?
Should we talk about it with big question
Okay, we'll
before
talk about
big
big
questions?
questions.
Sure.
We'll talk about big questions. Guys, we're getting there.
I thought it handled all of the tropes of the Baybuster.
Baybuster. I like that. Is that a Shades term or is that?
I think that's
coined?
like the official name of like one of his vehicles that he uses to shoot chase
Vehicles?
scenes. Yeah, he like
Get it?
yeah. I got you.
It's about Transformers.
Yes,
The
like
robots.
he has like I think he has a
in
car
disguise.
that can like drive through other cars and still keep going to film those scenes.
Remember when Sam said to Michaela, I think there's more to you than meets the eye?
Yes,
Like, that was great.
it
Those
was a
scenes.
little yes. Sure,
I loved that. Okay, anyway, back to
it's your.
I am going to do a rave that I think should be celebrated, and I don't think enough people are celebrating it. Ron. The stepfather.
The stepfather?
He was. Let's celebrate how much he steps up for these kids.
He
Like-
was a good guy.
He has not been there in their lives
Very
for that
long.
long because in
But he
Michaela's
loves those-
flashback,
yeah, he loves those kids.
He loves those kids. I mean,
And he will do anything he has to do for those kids. Yeah, it was.
he is already their father. Whether
Yeah.
or not they accept it,
Yeah.
he has
Yep.
stepped into that role. I mean, he tried to help Charlie, like with
Yes.
that book, like
Yep.
Spear Smile or whatever.
Right.
Like, and it's easy to be like, oh, he doesn't understand. But like a lot of people don't understand that.
It sets you up to hate him.
Yes, it
does.
does.
He never does anything you should hate him for.
He doesn't.
And I think it effectively gets you to hate him.
Yeah.
Or at least like be annoyed with him.
You're annoyed with him. You're definitely annoyed with him.
It's definitely it sets up you not liking him as the viewer. And you will fall into that. But
because Charlie isn't ready to move on. But you know what? Mom is. And she deserves happiness. And she chose well, even though the movie makes you think that she didn't. Yep. And I think he needs to be let's stand up and say,
let's give a slow clap.
You know what? From now on, I would like to do this. I'd like to do this for Ron. Can we do this for Ron?
Sure.
Whenever we do a movie,
and
we recognize just like a good guy.
You want to give the Ron Award?
I want to give the Ron Award.
Okay.
Because I think these things need to be celebrated. Because so many times the stepfather is like
shit on.
Yeah. And a lot of times rightfully so, because like he's a dick.
Yes.
And it's so I think this movie knew that. Us going in, we're automatically gonna not like him. And then at the end, he steps the fuck up.
Strong agree.
Yeah.
Good rave.
Thank you. It had to be said. Your last rave? Do you have any more raves?
I have two more.
Okay, I'm out of raves.
The light tone. Why were the other Transformer movies so dark?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why? Why were they? This has there's jeopardy and gravity and drama, but the movie is always light, even when a character is in jeopardy.
But you know what it is? It's smaller.
It is.
It's smaller.
Like the Transformer movies literally just destroy Americans. By the end of the Bay movies, like Chicago, like the world is a wasteland.
Yes.
The Transformers have destroyed planet Earth, and like the American military is like, fuck you, Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
Get off our planet. If we see you, we're going to kill you.
Yeah.
We're just going to destroy you. And at the beginning of the movie, like Optimus Prime, spoilers for Age of Extinction, the Wahlberg ones, Optimus Prime is taking like a rocket to the grill.
Yeah, the gut.
The gut.
Yeah.
He's dead, essentially.
Some people think when you say grill, the bling of the teeth.
No.
He
Like
does not
car
have that
grill,
kind of
like engine.
Yeah. Yep. I knew.
Yeah.
Just for the benefit of our LTLs.
You saw that one.
Yeah.
Possibly. Maybe.
The Age of Extinction was the one with the Dinobots.
Yes.
Obviously, because it's called Age of Extinction.
Right. Yes.
Right. What was the Triceratops name? Man, I'm looking it up while you're talking about your rave.
Triceracon.
No, I don't think that's it. I did like that line. They're called Decepticons. Doesn't that raise any red flags? Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
For the first time we've said something about that.
Yeah, so this movie was super light, and all of the Easter eggs that they threw in, guys, I am embarrassed by like how much of an 80s fanboy I am, and I'm embarrassed, but I love it. Like, set something in the 80s and give me these Easter eggs, and I'm all in.
You definitely like the 80s more
and
than
I don't understand how we survived the 80s, and I recognize it was a horrible time for like music and art because we had to throw awful synthesizers on top of things. But I love it. I love any time we go back to this era. And like they found a way to work in touch from the which was the theme of the Transformers movie, the animated movie in 87.
Oh, okay. I didn't notice.
It had nothing to do. Well, Bumblebee plays it through the radio when he's trying to get her to do the dive the first time.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And the Mr. T cereals and Alf, the Breakfast Club, where like he takes Judd Nelson's salute.
That was big.
And that was perfect. That's perfect for B. The Gen 1 bot designs, the
Gen 1 bot designs were fantastic.
And it makes you like, why did Michael Bay go with the designs that he went with when what we wanted was the Gen 1 look of the Transformers? And
they looked marvelous.
They looked fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Perfect. They looked perfect.
They really did. They nailed it.
They really nailed it.
They really did nail it.
It makes you say, like, why did they make all of those choices that they made? Yeah. And when, in retrospect, Michael Bay's Transformers look silly now.
Sure.
Because why would you change the look of the Transformers? Like this iconic piece of culture and the legacy of that. Optimus Prime looked fine as a flat front 80s tractor trailer.
Absolutely.
We didn't need to turn him into a Peterbilt with flames.
No. The flames were not.
Well, it was because they were like, red doesn't look good on film.
Oh, interesting.
It looked fine.
With a green filter, yeah.
With a horrific
weird,
green filter, yeah, it doesn't look good.
Slag. Slag was the name of the Triceratops.
Oh, slag. Okay.
I'm not happy about that.
Yeah.
I wanted a cooler name than that.
Junk metal? Really?
Jesus.
Oof. That's not cool.
No, that is not cool.
Not cool.
You get Grimlock and then slag.
Let's call Triceracon.
It's
better than slag.
It's better than, but we're not that good yet.
You know what I didn't like about the Dinobots?
In the movie? In general?
In general.
Okay, what?
They were dumb.
They were dumb, but they were primitive.
They were super dumb.
They were very, very dumb. I agree.
They talked in the third person.
Yeah.
Barely.
If they were, I say this a lot for lots of different things.
If they were smash. I think they ate metal too.
If they
for some
were
reason.
Depicting a race that way, it would be racist. That's how offensive it is.
I think they were trying to like. I think they were trying to
do cavemen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it came off more as like
cavemen are a race though.
Developmental disabilities, and that's super offensive.
I guess that would be ageism.
Sure. The cavemen.
Yeah, cavemen. Yeah.
They were super dumb.
They were super dumb.
And they were super dumb in the movie too.
Yeah, well, but I feel like in the movie they certainly were more animal than they were humanoid.
Sure.
And they still had their humanoid form, sure, because they're still Transformers. But in that movie, which we're not talking about, why are we talking about it?
I don't know.
They didn't come across to me as dumb humans. They came across to me as intelligent animals.
Okay.
And I'm fine with that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'll give you that one.
Thank you.
Yeah. Last rave.
Long-time listeners, I want somebody to make a tally of all the ones that Shades has given me.
It's probably a lot.
I'd like to know what I'm up to at this point.
Probably a lot.
Gonna cash them in.
Final rave. Bumblebee trying to navigate the house. It's just
fun.
Classic
That's a fun
comedy
scene.
gold.
Yep.
Just slapstick pratfall humor.
Yep.
It still works.
It does.
It's just light.
Yeah.
And slapsticky.
I agree. And it was nice.
It was.
Especially paired against Charlie's like kind of sad backstory and from her point of view, poor living conditions.
Yeah.
Like with her family. You know?
Yes.
Mom's always working. Stepfather she doesn't like. Brother who's annoying as shit.
Right.
Yeah. They're really poor, but they had a beautiful house.
They had a beautiful house.
With a gorgeous vista.
Yeah. It was a big flipping garage.
So I was like, are we really that poor? Is this the 80s? Are we 80s poor? God, I wish I was 80s poor.
It's morning again in America.
Yeah.
I wish I was 80s poor too.
That's a shirt.
That is a shirt.
Long-time listeners.
I wish I was 80s poor.
Wish I was 80s poor. Should we move into rants?
Yeah, let's do it.
Minor again. I have 4. I already said one of them. So.
Sure. I'll start.
Okay.
This may be the most derivative film I've ever seen. The first act is like essentially an animated 80s movie, or like the second Iron Giant. I don't know.
And you loved it, right?
I loved it, but I
okay.
also recognized that it was so derivative. It was like boiled down Guardians of the Galaxy, Infinity War, Avengers stuff, like to their most base and like all of the Transformers down to its very most base thing, and throw in the Iron Giant.
With the hype it was getting, I was expecting more new.
Yeah, it was very derivative, and I'm ashamed of how much I loved it, recognizing that, because it was just the Iron Giant.
Yeah. You know what it is? The movie was, and both movies really were, embodiment of fan service.
Yes.
Both of these movies are fan service for different things.
For the hardcore fans, the fact that Bumblebee was a Camaro and not a VW Bug, that was like unforgivable for a lot of people.
It was like when Kit went to be a Mustang.
Yes.
Yeah. Couldn't deal.
Yes. And this movie was 100% fan service to everybody who was like, these aren't the Gen 1 Transformers.
Yep. Well, now they are.
And now they are.
Yep.
What are you going to complain about? And I'll say this. Maybe I'll save our big questions.
Okay. Should I do a...
Yes. Yeah.
I'm going to disagree with you on one of your raves. I didn't say anything at the time because it was a rant of mine. But I wasn't a fan of how B, regressed into childhood. And maybe it was because it was to me too much like Iron Giant and I wanted something new. I much preferred him in 07 where he was like a free thinking, like almost like a secret agent. Like, he's in disguise.
Oh yeah.
He's hiding, but he's very competent. Like it was cute. There were definitely cute and funny scenes with B like that.
Yeah, like the only thing that was missing was him like putting his finger out and a butterfly landing on it.
Yes.
Maybe that happened.
Yes.
I don't know. It definitely happened in Iron Giant.
So okay, I'll say this. I would have been more okay with it if he regressed, he lost his memory, obviously.
Right. He loses everything.
And he loses everything. And I know that they're different from us, but like when a person loses their memory, they don't think they're a child, right? They just are an adult that doesn't. I've never lost my memory or known someone
He
who
didn't
has.
just lose his memory. He lost
everything.
He lost his memory and his voice.
He had that was a great scene.
It was.
How he lost his voice.
Yes.
He basically rebooted.
I don't
like
feel
from factory. From factory setting.
I'm going to disagree with you that he was childlike. I feel like he was wholly vulnerable because he didn't remember any of his core systems.
Yeah.
So
like
he's
even
having
like you
to
said
process
those little finger things. Like that's a kid move. Like I'm doing it right now, guys.
Sure.
It's great audio.
It is great audio.
I'm just tapping my fingers together.
But like the most vulnerable you could possibly be.
Yeah.
You don't know who you are, and you also can't communicate.
Mm-hmm.
Like it took him. I thought like the radio thing we said was new and revolutionary in 07. It was no longer new and revolutionary.
Yeah, so they took it in a good direction.
They took it in a good direction of him having to learn
how
that
to do it.
skill,
come up with that,
and come up with it. And it wasn't until he learned how to talk to the radio that like the little kid aspects went away.
Yeah, he
had no way of communicating, and also he's on an alien planet that he doesn't understand.
I did like that, and I think what I wanted was more of that because that was growth. Like I saw him.
Yeah.
So like as his memory was booting back up, like I wanted to see him grow more. It's like the radio, perfect example of that.
Yes.
But then all of a sudden, click, he's badass.
Yes.
And he's back.
Something happened where he automatically went into like attack mode.
Well, it was when Charlie was in danger.
Yes.
Yeah, and the military was like...
Right.
I think someone in the military like hit her.
Yes.
And like she fell, and then he went into...
John Cena! Slapped her or something. Oof.
That's a good transition.
Yeah.
Can we talk about John Cena?
Yes, let's do it.
I said this to you. They're trying to make a new Rock, and John Cena is no Rock.
He's just Fruity Pebbles.
He does not have the charisma.
Or at best, Bam Bam.
Yeah.
He does not have the charisma of the Rock at all. And his gimmick is like, I have two very good friends, Alan and Brian. Shout outs, both longtime listeners.
Hey guys.
I love wrestling.
Uh-huh.
So I know this because of his trope is like military stuff, even though he's never been in the military.
Okay.
So I feel like that's why they like went this direction with him.
Yeah.
But he just doesn't sell it. He's not a good actor.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work.
He
is no Rock.
He's got a long way to go.
No Rock.
Yeah.
And if we're gonna contrast maybe like with The Rock in The Mummy 2, where he started and got one line out.
Yeah.
I think The Rock was so well received because he only had one line.
Yeah.
And
don't hang this much on.
Don't hang this much on John Cena this early.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't. I don't know. He was in another movie where like a comedy where he like played a dad.
Oh yeah.
Didn't see it.
Wasn't it like Cock Blockers or something like that? I think that was the name of it.
Was it really?
Yeah. Oh no, I think it's just Blockers.
Blockers.
But it's implied.
Yeah.
It's implied cock. That's another shirt. Because I think there was like a rooster in the movie poster.
Sure. Maybe.
I did not see that. So
I didn't either.
Maybe he was fine in that. Maybe he's better.
I'm gonna, I did see a trailer, so I'm gonna go out on a limb and say he was not fine in that.
And I'm not willing to say that because I think he could kick both of our asses.
I'm confident he could kick both of our asses, but I'm still gonna say that he was not good at it.
He wasn't, like I said, he wasn't charismatic enough.
He's not The Rock.
He's not The Rock.
He's not.
Who is The Rock? Rock is a national treasure.
He really is at this point.
Yeah.
Dwayne Johnson, 2020.
I love him.
Yeah.
He's not The Rock.
Do you have any more rants?
In relation to the John Cena thing, I just, after how like pumped I was in the 07, because I did watch 07 first, and like how much I thought the military was like depicted as like this super good guy.
Oh,
who
yeah.
I want to root for. Like
This
the
movie
depiction of the
retcons that
military
entirely.
in this,
Yeah.
like they're like comically bad.
This was not paid for by the American military.
You don't say.
Yeah.
It was just like it felt so one-dimensional. Like it was the military. I didn't believe in them. I didn't believe in their threat.
And they also made them Section 7, which didn't make any sense.
They did bring Section 7
like John Cena
in.
was Section 7.
Was he?
Yes.
I thought he got brought into Section 7 midway through the movie.
Positive that they were Black Ops, like Section 7 the whole time.
Maybe. I don't remember it clearly enough. Well, I've only seen Bumblebee once, so.
Everybody else in his unit died. He was
Yeah.
a terrible leader.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you, John Cena.
Yeah. John Cena. What a bummer. Do you have any more rants?
I do.
Okay.
This is super quick. I'll just say I talked about it with the rave. It really makes us question Bay's visions of the Transformers all along.
Yeah.
Like, because the Transformers could have been this good all along.
Yeah.
And I'll just follow it up with, this movie doesn't connect to the 2007 Transformers movie at all, even though they make an attempt at the end to make it a prequel.
I would say more than just at the end. I think there's lots.
They made
of
a lot of
clues
attempts
within the movie.
Well, is that a good transition to
Okay, let's talk
big
about
questions?
that right now. Let's talk about that right now.
It's my first big question. Is this a prequel or a reboot? And we've had it answered for us in the media.
Yes. So it's unfair.
But I want to talk about it a little bit.
Let's talk about it. I'll give you my 2 cents.
Sure.
I think that this movie was produced and created 75% way through before they decided whether or not it was going to be a prequel or a reboot. So I feel there was a lot of safe Easter eggs that they put in that could easily tie it as a direct prequel without committing full to that yet. And then after the movie was finished being made, for whatever reason, they decided, no, not related. It's just a soft reboot.
Soft reboot, yeah.
That's what I think.
So we've had officially Hasbro's come out and said this is a reboot, soft reboot, or at best.
Yep.
But I think you're right. I think that last scene in the movie and the first scene in the movie, the opening, were revisions.
Yes, I agree.
Because they didn't know what they were going to do. I think the end of, so at the end of the movie, they make Bumblebee turn into the 77 Camaro that he is at the beginning of the first Transformers.
For no reason.
No reason whatsoever. He just decides he doesn't want to be a VW bug anymore.
Yep.
You could have done that the whole time? Yeah, he could.
He could.
I think that was in there because originally this was Transformers 6. It was a prequel.
Yep.
I think they went back and reskinned all the Transformers to Gen 1 when they decided it was going to be a
soft reboot.
Yeah. And put in that scene at the beginning on Cybertron of sending them to Earth, and like sending B to Earth as a rallying point when they decided it was going to be a reboot.
To respond to your critique of seeing these Transformers, how much better the 07 ones could have been, I definitely agree in hindsight. But the world of 07 was, we're going to take a childhood
Cocoa
classic.
Bananas.
Yeah. Like when you think of like everything that was going on with like Batman Begins, like the Nolan Batman universe. Let's take something that's
gonna be dark.
Yeah, everyone.
It's gonna be broody.
Exactly. Everyone's going to think of this, and they're going to think of bam, pow, and like really kiddie. And we're going to show that no, we can make like a really serious, dangerous Batman that relates to every like adults. And then I think
not my favorite Batman.
And then I think this Transformers was born in that time.
Yes.
Whereas like, what, you're going to have a bunch of toys on screen? Oh, no. They're going to be badass looking. They're going to be dangerous looking.
Right.
I think that's where they came from.
Yeah.
And now that
it's a great observation.
We're so nostalgia heavy right now. Because of movies like this.
We've got all these Gen 1 Transformer reissue things lying around that nobody's buying.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
Pump them in. So I think that's where they came from. And the other part of this movie that makes me think that it was going to be a direct prequel for a while was that when they do go to Sector 7, it is in the Hoover Dam.
Yes.
Still.
Yep.
Simmons is there.
Yes.
Simmons is, what's his name? You know,
John Turturro.
Yeah. That's not who's playing him.
A younger
it's a
version
younger
of him.
version,
Yep.
but he is there.
Yep.
And
which character is he again?
he's just
a guy,
he's
right?
Just
They just
a
say,
guy
like,
who,
Simmons.
they don't even say his name. He has a
It's
name
a name tag. Yeah.
that says Simmons, and he has like curly hair. So
Yeah.
you're like, no, he's going to grow up to be that Simmons. And they obviously purposefully avoided
going to the hangar.
Going to the hangar and just
putting
Megatron
in the movie
at all.
Yeah.
Which was smart.
Yes.
Definitely smart. But it was those kind of decisions that made me think, I bet for a long time
This was a prequel.
this was a prequel
Yeah.
well into production.
Yep.
And so I agree it's a soft reboot, but only recently decided.
Yes. In hindsight, decided it was going to be a reboot.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Does that take us to our other BQs?
Yeah.
Our other BQs? You want to start with 07 BQs, or do you want to just go all around?
Well, so we can skip around. Okay. I don't have many big BQs.
I only have 2 BQs for the 07.
You only have BQs for the 07?
No, I have for both, but I only have 2 for 07.
Well, give us 2.
Okay. On Cybertron,
yes.
are Autobots the bad guys? Are they the heretics of their society?
It is posited that they are in both universes.
Because every machine that the cube gives life to is like
a Decepticon.
destructive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Autobots seem to be the only ones that have any interest in organic life.
Yes.
At all, in preserving organic life.
I will agree with that.
And I really also think it's only because Optimus Prime is
so good.
Is so good, and he's the very pro-organic one, and he has like disciples.
Well, exactly. I was going to say he is the Judeo-Christian Messiah figure of the Transformer universe.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, strong agree.
Okay.
Autobots are the heretics.
Thank you. Thank you.
And that's a good observation.
Do you have any questions for 07 before I move on from 07?
This is related to it, so I'll ask it here.
Okay.
Should they have rebooted the franchise? We don't like the 4 subsequent Michael Bay movies.
Correct.
But other people did. Those movies all grossed well over $400 million domestically.
Yeah, they did.
And between $600 and $800 million worldwide.
From what I understand, well, you talked about it a little bit earlier. They're huge in the Asian market.
Yes, they are behemoths.
Mm-hmm.
This movie lost money domestically. It's $400 million. It is the worst performing of all of them. There are 6 Transformers. It's number 6. It hasn't been particularly well received by Transformers fans.
Yeah,
I think that largely because of the
John Cena.
Well, I think we're now in a world where there's a whole generation of people that only know Michael Bay's version of Transformers.
Sure. Yeah.
And Hasbro's worked kind of hard to try and fix that. Mm-hmm. They've put out some really good Transformer update series. Mm-hmm. They've kind of retconned old Transformers with Transformers Prime, which we didn't talk about when we were doing our history. I watched all of Transformers Prime and the Beast Hunters that followed it and that whole story. I thought it was great.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where this movie kind of fits in.
Yeah.
Hasbro's really taken the reins on Transformers.
I think
should they have rebooted the franchise?
Yes. From my perspective, yes, because I put product over profit any day of the week.
Yep.
And so it's a better crafted movie. It's a better movie to watch. It has rewatchability the way the other Transformers don't.
Right.
So I say yes. From a business standpoint, I think it came too late. I think it would have been better received if this came after maybe the 3rd Transformers movie. I think people are transformered out. I mean, I know I was before this one came out. I was willing to give it a new shot because I looked into it and it looked like it was going back to basics.
I had to do a lot of research before I got excited for it.
But I was like, when that last one that came out before this, I didn't even see it because I was like, I know what it's going to be. It's
more disaster porn.
Yeah.
Optimus Prime's going to lecture us.
Yeah.
He's going to almost die and then come back and own.
So, long story short, yes, I think they should have done it. I think they missed the most optimal time to do it.
Yeah.
But it had to be done.
I will agree with you, and I like that product over profit. And I will say...
That's what this podcast is.
It really is.
Product over profit.
I will say on both fronts, you said business decision, not a good business. I'll say it is a good business decision. Hasbro is a legendary company. They're one of the, I think they're the only toy company like left out there.
Is Mattel still doing stuff?
They own Mattel.
Oh.
They own Mattel.
Do they own Monopoly? Because that would be really...
They own Monopoly. So they're still a family-owned company. Mm-hmm. And I remember they were posting positions a couple years ago when I was thinking about making a career change. And this was after the Bay movies were well into their cycle, but they had posted positions for every single franchise that they had. And the job was to like create a lore for all of their franchises because they had spun out of control so wildly. And it was like Pac-Man, My Little Pony. They had recently acquired Mattel, so they had Barbie, Transformers, Mr. Potato Head. Like we need a canon for our franchises to write the ship.
Lore masters.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's trademark, copyright, sketch.
I would do that job.
Lore
in a
master.
Heartbeat. I love lore.
Right, exactly.
So much,
you really do. So I think this was a very strong business decision because at their core, these movies are propaganda, giant advertisements to sell the toys.
Oh yeah.
And even though they're very complex, the Transformers toys that we've gotten from the Bay movies are lame.
Yeah.
There's something like about them that you don't want to play with them because they don't really go back together once you get them apart until you really like a child could never do them.
No, goodness no.
And so like it misses the mark as a toy.
Yeah.
And the great thing about Transformers themselves is it started as a toy. A Hasbro executive went to Japan, saw this toy, bought the rights to it, brought it back to Pawtucket, Rhode Island, sent it through their factory, and made all of these Transformers, and then created a backstory for them, and a universe, and turned it into a cartoon show that kids would watch to sell their toy.
That is the same exact thing that happened in Japan with Zoids.
With Zoids, sure. And it's like...
It all comes back to Zoids.
It really does. Well, I think Zoids figure into the story somewhere that they like were connected to them, but like the Hasbro guys didn't buy the rights to those, so they couldn't use them.
Yeah,
and that's like where the Dinobots came from, or something like that.
Yeah, makes sense.
But I think it's a great business decision because there's a legacy with these Gen 1 and even the Gen 2 Transformers from like the movie, like Hot Rod and Ultra Magnus and the ones that came later.
And the reason I said it was a poor business decision is
money,
and the fact that like it's late.
Yeah,
that was the poor decision, waiting until this point. But maybe there was contractual reasons why they had to wait as long as they did.
Sure,
to kind of take the reins back. I got another big question from
Great,
07 before I go Bumblebee. This is my biggest question of all.
Okay,
I'll
try and give you
07.
An A for your Q.
Optimus Prime is all about he's all about exposition.
Yes.
Right? How did Optimus Prime know all the details pertaining to Sam's great-grandfather and Megatron? He explains everything at once, moments after landing on Earth.
From the World Wide Web. You saw well, that's the explanation. We learned your language and everything about you from the World Wide Web.
Well, yeah, but then why?
Because they can hijack the satellites and... They did. The Decepticons also learned of Sam and the glasses through his eBay posting.
Yeah.
Are you ladies' man?
But they didn't know. They didn't know to look for Sam until stupid little robot hijacked the server in Air Force One.
Yeah, that's how they got on the World Wide Web.
Yeah. So are you saying that Optimus Prime knew that only because the Decepticons had uncovered that much?
I mean, it's not made clear, but yes, I'm saying like maybe off screen Optimus downed a Decepticon and like got the information from them, or hijacked into one of the hacks that like happen like off screen. Maybe it's not a Decepticon, maybe it's Optimus. another Autobot, or maybe Bumblebee. Bumblebee obviously already knows he needs to follow Sam at some point.
He does
because he shows up there. So Bumblebee's already found the information.
So before the
Decepticons get the information about Sam, Bumblebee has already gotten onto this and has gone onto the lot to protect him.
And so has Bumblebee hacked the government?
I guess they do make it a point to say there have been all of these hacks happening. Someone's been trying to get into the defense grid.
Okay, but we don't want to show that because it undermines their goodness, their innate goodness.
Yeah.
But let's lay all the facts out there.
Yeah.
Let's call a spade a spade.
Sure.
Bumblebee's a hacker.
He's a hacker. Yeah. He's a white hat hacker.
Yeah. What's a white hat hacker?
It's someone who hacks for good.
Oh, I thought it was racial.
No.
Oh, okay.
It's like white hats and black hats.
Yeah.
Sure, it's racial. I guess. I don't know. If we really going to, why are white things good and black things bad? Yeah, it's racial. Okay. But
I was thinking the opposite way because thinking of a white hat made me think of the KKK. And so then for you to go sure, it's good because it's white. I was like, oh my God. Shades is endorsed by the KKK
this discussion has once again reiterated the fact that everything is everything.
Everything is everything. I have a couple Bumblebee questions.
Great. I have can I give you my one Bumblebee question?
Oh, sure.
How the fuck did Charlie survive the dive off the radio tower into a dry dock?
She didn't. The rest of the movie is a Jacob's Ladder scenario.
Thank you.
And it was also pointless. It was
so pointless.
B
Bumblebee,
is fine.
It's not like he's going to drown.
No, he's okay.
It's not like he's going to drown. I don't know.
It was symbolic. It was simply a symbolic gesture.
We need to come up with a reason for her to become a diver again,
yeah.
high dive.
Yeah.
But there's no way she should have survived that, right?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
We already talked about prequel or reboot. Simple questions. We'll lightning round it.
Sure.
How does B drive himself if his face is literally staring straight down at the road?
The antenna on the car.
Okay. Like sonar?
Yes.
Okay. I'll take it. I don't agree with it, but I'll take it.
Like a bat.
Yeah, sure. He's the Batmobile. Are there actual people that mean in the real life? The girl that mocks Charlie for having a dead father. I've known some real dicks in my life, but I've never known anyone to mock someone for a dead parent.
I have.
You have?
Yes, I have. I went to school with one.
Gosh,
I'm not ashamed to say brutal. I laid that son of a bitch out.
That is brutal.
Laid him out. I'm not ashamed of it.
Why did Charlie name Bumblebee after a bee because he sounds like a bee when her moped sounds way more like a bee?
It wasn't that he sounded like a bee. He had a bee's nest living in him. No, he did,
but she said at one point he makes a noise and she goes, oh, you kind of sound like a bee. That's what I'm going to call you, Bumblebee. Oh. But he had an air freshener that said buzz off or something and it was a bumblebee. He had bees living in him. There were other reasons to name him Bumblebee other than the noise because her moped sounded way more like a bee.
She saw the bees living in him first.
Yeah, and then
he
by
made
a
the sound. Yeah, then he made the sound, and that's okay. Yeah, I don't have a good answer for that one because Bumblebee is already called Bumblebee, and he has to be called Bumblebee.
Yeah,
and they probably thought of that later.
Yeah, I did like how he was just B something on Cybertron, B127 or whatever.
B127 in the reboot, and then he was B
126.
He was ZB7 when he was part of the Satan Brigade in the now defunct Michael Bay universe.
Okay. I have one last big question that's just Transformers related, not related to the movies, but I'm going to save it to the very end of our episode.
Okay.
Because right now, do you have any more rants?
No.
Okay. Or big questions? Right now, what I would like to do, because this didn't happen on our last double feature.
No.
We need a tiebreaker because we each gave
the movies the
same score. So I got some categories written down.
Okay.
That pertain to both movies.
Okay.
07 and Bumblebee. I've already written down my things.
Okay.
And then we'll tally it up.
Okay. Sounds good.
Feel free to give an explanation defending yourself or not.
Feel free to play along at home, longtime listeners.
Yeah, absolutely. Write in.
Yeah, write in. Let us know.
Let's see. I think I already know the answer to this one.
Okay.
The look of the Transformers. 07 or Bumblebee?
A Bumblebee.
Yeah. I also agree. Main character, we're talking here Sam versus Charlie specifically.
It's a tough one for me, but I'm going to give it to Charlie.
Okay.
I think that character has more depth and a more compelling story to do what what she does.
I
and why she does
definitely
it.
agree that she has a better story, but I found Sam to relate more to my life and
Sure.
be much more entertaining.
Sure.
So I gave it to Sam. Supporting human character, going Michaela versus Memo.
Hands down, Michaela.
Yeah, me too as well. She's beautiful, and that's it.
Memo
No, I'm
was
just kidding.
literally the token diversity in this movie. And when it's not genuine,
Yeah.
it really shows. Like, embarrassingly.
Also, did you notice, because I mean, I guess in the first movie, I mean, you had that shot of Megan Fox like checking under Bumblebee's hood, and she absolutely looked gorgeous. Sure.
Yes.
But
it was set up in the fact that she was with her boyfriend at a lake. She was like wearing her lake attire.
Yeah.
And then she was lifting up the hood
Yeah.
and leaning over the...
no, you see her
Memo
mirror,
just took his
stuff
shirt
like
off for no
that.
reason.
And so did the other guy, the other diver. Like, there was a lot of male fan service
Sure.
in this movie.
And
All
it
right,
was,
I'm not saying it's bad.
But at least like
noticing.
the guy that was diving, he was diving.
Yeah,
He
that
took
made
off his shirt.
sense.
But Memo literally had no reason to take his shirt
so
off.
she could close her eyes. That was a weak reason.
Yeah.
It was like
It
to
was
put
very-
over her eyes.
it was very
Just
weak,
put your hands
yeah.
over your eyes.
Yeah. Just close your eyes.
Fight scenes specifically about the Transformers. Transformer-specific fight scenes.
07.
Interesting. I gave it to Bumblebee.
Really?
I gave it to Bumblebee because I liked that they were like smaller one-on-one fights.
That's the note I'm... Okay, this is the note I made. I'll give it to Michael Bay for Transformer fights in action, but I felt like they were more compelling in Bumblebee.
Yeah, see, and I wrote close. It's close for me, but I think Bumblebee edged it
Bay
out for me.
did a better job
Bay
of
edged it out for
blending
you.
the practical
Yeah.
sequences.
Oh, yeah.
But I liked seeing Bumblebee fight.
Well,
not Starscream.
That's good because it brings us into this one. Fight scenes for humans, Bay or Bumblebee.
Michael Bay.
Yeah, me as well. Because in Bumblebee,
The humans never really
they do
fight
very
anybody.
little.
Yeah.
Even Charlie's
Bumblebee is
role
more
at
about the
end.
Transformers.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Emotional response to the movie as a whole, like highs and lows, highs and lows. Not a geek out, but like highs and lows.
I think I had a bigger emotional response to Bay
Yeah, me too.
when like Bumblebee is basically dead.
Yeah, me too. And Michaela's like, I'm not leaving.
I'm not
without
leaving.
him.
I'm not leaving without
Yep,
Bumblebee.
yep. And at the end, when Bumblebee's like, I'd like to stay with the Bumblebee.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Even though I don't like his voice.
Yeah,
but, like,
I didn't like that they brought his voice back for that part.
it was not a good one.
But yeah, I agree. And Bumblebee, it's funny because Bumblebee is a much more emotional movie
Yes.
at its core.
But I didn't have as big of an emotional
didn't have
response.
those. It didn't.
Do you
have
think
those
it's because we're
scenes.
older now?
It could be that we're older.
But I, like rewatching it, I still felt like I had that emotional
Oh,
response.
I definitely still had the emotional response. Overall story, just like the writing of the overall story.
Bumblebee, with the exception of the story of Section 7, like the original 7.
Agreed. Yeah, I also give it to Bumblebee. I said it was close.
It's very close, but I'll give it to Bumblebee.
Yep. Your overall geek out, just like moments that just made you geek out. Pure core geek out moments.
This is tough.
Yeah.
Because I think I've had one of the biggest geek outs I've ever had when Bumblebee turns into the 2010 Camaro and like he like Battle Without Honor Humanity. That's that song. Like, if you know, that's my ringtone.
Yeah, it is.
So that was like one of my biggest geek outs I've ever had. But I think I got to give it to Bumblebee.
For the old school Transformers.
Old school Gen 1 Transformers, like being set in the 1980s.
I gave it to 07 just because I think this was fresh and new and seeing transformations for the first time and everything. And like it was even having me geek out over the military. And I'm not like a military
right.
guy.
It looked,
but
it was compelling.
Yeah.
It looked cool and it was compelling.
Main villain. So we're talking Megatron versus the two Decepticons whose names I can't
Megatron.
remember. Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I gave it to Bumblebee.
Really? Wow. Okay.
I thought they were actually deceptive.
They were very menacing.
And they were
ruthless. Oh, they like exploded people?
Yeah.
I'm going to change this. I'm going to give it to Bumblebee.
Okay.
I was approaching it from like just like a villain.
Yeah.
But you're right. Those two, they were just horrific.
Yeah.
They melty exploded people like marshmallows.
They did.
In a microwave.
Yep.
It wasn't. I liked that they didn't have like laser weapons.
No, they didn't.
That made a lot of sense.
Fan service.
Okay, what are we talking about when we say fan service? Like What we just talked about, fan service, or like overall?
Overall fan service, not just sexualized fan service, but fans like
Bumblebee,
the
hands down.
The blatant car fan service and stuff like that. Yeah, and I give it to 07. I think it makes sense because you're more into the 80s.
Yeah.
And there is definitely a lot of
I am
80s
ashamed
stuff
at how much I like set a movie in the 80s and I'm all in. I will go see it, and I am borderline ashamed of that. I don't even understand it because I don't actually like. I think about it. I'm like Ronald Reagan, dead and I'm glad. Like Iran Contra, like glad that's like settled and done with. Like the lawless like deregulation of the 1980s and the like the wealth disparity and like Dayglow, neon colors, just like it's awful. I'm glad we're past it, but God, you put it in front of me in a movie, and I will just watch it all day.
It's your guilty pleasure.
It really is my guilty pleasure.
It's the definition of a guilty pleasure right there. And last category I got here is the opening exposition of like everything that's happened on Cybertron thus far.
Versus a 7.5 minutes like ADR Optimus Prime telling you about the cube.
Yeah.
Hands down Bumblebee.
Yeah, I also gave it to Bumblebee as well. Would you like me to tally these up?
Yes.
Do you want to talk about this?
Sure.
Talk about something?
So, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. This was like a huge geek out for us. This was like a year-long wait geek out. And I feel like I was rewarded for my excitement. I went in with high expectations, and I feel like this was a rare example of when my expectations were not only met, but I was rewarded for like my excitement and those expectations and everything that went along with that, from the story to the special effects to the rollout. And guys, we're getting another one. We're getting a sequel to this movie. I don't know how many there'll be, but we'll see what happens.
Do you think you'll like these less when they're no longer in the 80s? So eventually they'll age out of the 80s like we did.
Yeah, I think I will like them as much.
Yeah, you like
because
the 90s?
I do enjoy me some 90s tropes.
Yeah.
And like 90s
like the 90s tropes
90s
too.
pop rock is like my guilty pleasure, and they're like that's soundtrack alone. This could be a great soundtrack.
So, guys, I got the final score for our tiebreaker here, and this is very interesting. Hold on to your butts. Sketch with a score of 6 for 07 and 5 for Bumblebee. Sketch pulls ahead on 07. I apparently like 07 just a scooch more than I like Bumblebee. Shades also with a very close score, though not as close as mine, with a 4 for 07 and a 7 for Bumblebee. So Bumblebee pulls ahead for Shades.
I am not at all surprised by this.
Yeah. Yeah. The data doesn't lie. The data doesn't lie.
Yeah. And guys, if there's one thing about this show, we are data driven.
This is a data driven show.
It's a data driven podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
We do the hard research.
Remember the time I tallied up all the Walking Dead?
Yes.
I was joking about the data, but I really did that.
You really did.
Because otherwise it'd sound like sexist pig.
You know what? Because product over profits.
Product over profits. That's what I say.
And this podcast is the ultimate product.
Product over product.
We're working hard for you, longtime listeners.
Guys, I'll take some profit.
And guys, like I love 07 Transformers. This is one of the few movies. I stopped buying movies sometime around like 2005.
Yeah, I own this one too.
I own this one.
Yeah.
I don't own any other Transformer movies.
You gave it a tie score, and you just pulled ahead Bumblebee by 3 points.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's the nostalgia.
Yeah.
It's the Iron
that's heavy
Giant
for you. Yeah.
It really is the Iron Giant.
Yep.
But that's not new or fresh.
Yeah.
So I'm not all in.
Yeah.
But I'm in.
You're in. It was a close score for both of us.
It was.
That's interesting how that worked out. I have one last big question before we wrap up the show.
Okay.
And this is just a Transformers question.
Sure.
Your car, the Shadesmobile, is Transformer. What's the name?
Oh my goodness. I've always just called it the Shadesmobile.
I know, but that can't be the name. Because that's very egotistical.
I mean, this is kind of unoriginal, but I think his name is just Firebird.
Wow.
I think it's
disappointing. Okay, great.
I don't know. You put me on the spot there.
I did.
Let me think about it.
Okay, I'll tell you.
What's
the Mustang is Skyview.
Skyview because it's convertible.
Because it's convertible.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I could follow along with that and say like T-top.
T-top. That's pretty good. I like that. I like T-top.
Okay.
T-top and Skyview.
T-top and Skyview.
I like
Great.
it. Perfect.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
You put me on the spot there.
I did.
I'm not very improvisational.
No. I guess that brings us to
Shades and Sketch recommendations.
I'll go first because you kind of brought it up already, but I'm going to recommend Transformers Prime.
Oh, okay, good. I'm glad one of us recommended it.
Absolutely fantastic.
Because I was going to go back and say Transformers Prime.
Absolutely amazing series. It's on
so good.
Netflix.
It is. It was not on Netflix for a while. It's back.
Yeah.
But Beast Hunters isn't, and that is the conclusion to the Prime story.
Oh, that's not there anymore?
It's not.
No, that's a bummer.
But there's also Transformers Robots in Disguise, which is a follow-up to
that was a
the
good
Prime
series,
story.
too.
It was a good series. It started out kind of rough, but then it got much better.
It's another one of those shows that it's like started
Slow
young
burn,
and then it realized what its
and
audience was.
Will Friedle voicing Bumblebee.
How can you
in
not?
both of those series?
How can you not love that? Transformers Prime, even though Bumblebee's in it, it focuses more on RC, which I really like.
Yeah.
That it focuses on her and Jack. Wasn't that the name of the boy?
Wheeljack.
No.
Oh.
The kid.
Yeah, Jack.
Their relationship.
Yes.
Thought it was really
and
great.
also Miko and Bulk.
Yep. That's a good. Yeah, because like all the Transformers kind of have like a kid that they're like
the
protecting.
three RC, Bulk, and Bumblebee all have
like a human that needs protecting.
Yeah. And Bumblebee's was like super geeky, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Because like B is not the feature of that. RC is the
which
main
is
character.
one of the reasons why I'm going to recommend it because there are other Transformers other than Bumblebee, and I love Bumblebee. But
I really enjoyed Ratchet in that series.
Yes.
Voiced by I can't think of the actor's name, but he also voiced the Question in Justice League.
Yes.
Unlimited.
Yeah, he was good. It was really just solid.
Yes.
From start to finish.
Yep. And the great thing about that series is they got Peter Cullen back to voice Optimus Prime for the first time since the 80s.
So guys, if you like Transformers, especially like if you like old school Transformers, I think Prime does a really good job of Transformers.
Strong agree with that.
Bringing you back to it. Shades, what do you want to recommend?
Longtime listeners that are Patreon subscribers will know we did a mini there about comics and where I am with them. So if you are a Patreon subscriber, and we thank you that you are, you will know that I'm no longer reading mainstream comics. I'm not reading DC or Marvel comics anymore. So this is a recommendation for an independent comic written by Mark Miller called Huck. And it's just one graphic novel. There might be another part. The story could go forward. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like his MO. He also did Kick-Ass. So years later, he did Kick-Ass 2.
Yeah.
Continued that story. And then also a third comic series, Hit Girl. But Huck is the story of...
Huckleberry Finn.
No.
I know it well.
He's just this guy named Huck.
Oh.
He's very meek. He's very quiet. He's just a good guy. And he tries to do like a good deed every day.
Would you say Huck gets the Ron Award?
Yeah. He really does.
Wonderful.
He's kind of everybody's stepfather. He just tries to, he's a mechanic and lives a very quiet life. And it's basically like a story of what if Clark Kent never decided to become Superman? He just stayed in Smallville.
Okay. Is he superpowered, Huck?
He is superpowered. So like what if Clark Kent decided, nope, I like my quiet life, and I'm just going to do nice things for people around here in this town who have taken me in. They know I'm different, but they just kind of...
That's great. Sounds like a feel-good story.
It really is, until...
Oh, boy.
Big time reporter comes to town and makes him famous.
Oh, gosh.
And turns out Huck is not an alien, is not a superpower. He is a Cold War era experiment.
Uh-oh.
And now that he's famous, he's not alone.
Oh,
and everyone comes out of the woodwork, and it's just a great story. And I'm really let down and disappointed by what's happening in some of my favorite books. If you're one of our Patreon subscribers, again, thank you so much. You know what I'm talking about. And if you'd like to know what I'm talking about, you can head over to our Patreon and support the show and get that exclusive episode. Listen to why I'm not reading any mainstream label comics right now. This
comic sounds good. Usually, I completely tune out when you do your recommendations, and I don't give a shit. But this one actually has my interest.
Yeah, it's a great story, and big shout out to Chad Julian for recommending it to me.
I'm glad I tuned back in.
Yeah,
while you were talking this time.
Great.
It's not going to happen again.
Yeah, probably not.
But, yeah. Shades, do you want to take anything before we pack up the GoCo?
I am. I'm going to take this ham radio and power system from the Hoover Dam, from the Shrine of the Seven.
You do remember it's not the real Hoover Dam, so that is just a prop.
It's just a prop.
Okay.
I'm okay with that.
I'm taking the Shard of Allspark because I'm making Skyview a real thing.
Oh, God. Sketch. The Allspark only makes evil things.
I'll convert him. He'll be.
I am not paying for the damages to GoCo.
It's okay. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. GoCo's huge. We'll give him a corner.
This is not going to end well.
We're going to rehabilitate him.
Skyview is not allowed in my garage.
No, he's because he's like a living thing. So he goes more with Sketch's menagerie of.
Oh boy. Okay.
Guys, thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
on
this adventure.
Was this a long one?
This is a long one,
but it's a rich one.
It is.
So Transformers is rich.
It is. There's such a history.
Yeah.
You can't do it easily.
No.
Thanks for sticking with us as went down that rabbit hole.
Yeah. Guys, if you want to reach out to us, if you want to email us, you can email us at gowithshadesansketch@gmail.com.
You can find us on Twitter at Shades and Sketch, or if you'd like to tweet at Sketch, you can find him at Go4Sketch.
And if you would like to argue with Shades, you can argue with him at Go for Shades.
That is true. You can find us on Facebook by searching Geeking Out.
Yeah.
And you'll find us there.
You can also find us on Patreon.
Yes. Patreon.com/shadesansketch. And our website, shadesansketch.weebly.com.
Shades?
Yeah.
In 50 years,
yes,
when you're looking back at your life, don't you want to say you got in the car?
Yeah. I wrote that quote down somewhere.
It's such a great quote. I had to end the episode on that quote.
It was such a great quote. Yeah. Sketch, I'm really glad I got in the car.
See you next time,
See you
guys.
next time.